Exodus 28 from the Net Bible. The clothing of the priests. And you, bring near to you your brother Aaron and his sons with him from among the Israelites, so that they may minister as my priests, Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. You must make holy garments for your brother Aaron, for glory and for beauty. You are to speak to all who are specially skilled, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, so that they may make Aaron's garments and set him apart to minister as my priest. Now, these are the garments that they are to make: a breastpiece, an ephod, a robe, a fitted tunic, a turban, and a sash. They are to make holy garments for your brother Aaron and for his sons, that they may minister as my priests. The artisans are to use the gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine linen. They are to make the ephod of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twisted linen, the work of an artistic designer. It is to have 2 shoulder pieces attached to 2 of its corners, so it can be joined together. The artistically woven waistband of the ephod that is on it is to be like it, of one piece with the ephod of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twisted linen. You are to take 2 onyx stones and engrave on them the names of the sons of Israel, 6 of their names on one stone, and the 6 remaining names on the second stone, according to the order of their birth. You are to engrave the 2 stones with the names of the sons of Israel, with the work of an engraver in stone, like the engravings of a seal. You are to have them set in gold filigree settings. You are to put the 2 stones on the shoulders of the ephod, stones of memorial for the sons of Israel, and Aaron will bear their names before the Lord on his 2 shoulders for a memorial. You are to make filigree settings of gold and 2 braided chains of pure gold like a cord, and attach the chains to the settings. You are to make a breastpiece for use in making decisions, the work of an artistic designer. You are to make it in the same fashion as the ephod. You are to make it of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twisted linen. It is to be square when doubled, 9 inches long and 9 inches wide. You are to set it in a setting for stones, 4 rows of stones, a row with a ruby, a topaz, and a beryl, the first row, and the second row a turquoise, a sapphire, and an emerald, and the third row a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst, and the 4th row a chrysolite, an onyx, and a jasper. They are to be enclosed in gold in their filigree settings. The stones are to be for the names of the sons of Israel, 12 according to the number of their names. Each name, according to the 12 tribes, is to be like the engravings of a seal. You are to make for the breastpiece braided chains like cords of pure gold, and you are to make for the breastpiece 2 gold rings, and attach the 2 rings to the upper 2 ends of the breastpiece. You are to attach the 2 gold chains to the 2 rings at the ends of the breastpiece. The other 2 ends of the 2 chains you will attach to the 2 settings, and then attach them to the shoulder pieces of the ephod at the front of it. You are to make 2 rings of gold and put them on the other 2 ends of the breastpiece, on its edge that is on the inner side of the ephod. You are to make 2 more gold rings and attach them to the bottom of the 2 shoulder pieces on the front of the ephod close to the juncture above the waistband of the ephod. They are to tie the breastpiece by its rings to the rings of the ephod by blue cord, so that it may be above the waistband of the ephod, and so that the breastpiece will not be loose from the ephod. Aaron will bear the names of the sons of Israel in the breastpiece of decision over his heart when he goes into the holy place for a memorial before the Lord continually. You are to put the Urim and the Thummim into the breastpiece of decision, and they are to be over Aaron's heart when he goes in before the Lord. Aaron is to bear the decisions of the Israelites over his heart before the Lord continually. You are to make the robe of the ephod completely blue. There is to be an opening in its top in the centre of it, with an edge all around the opening, the work of a weaver, like the opening of a collar, so that it cannot be torn. You are to make pomegranates of blue, purple and scarlet all around its hem, and bells of gold between them all around. The pattern is to be a gold bell and a pomegranate, a gold bell and a pomegranate, all around the hem of the robe. The robe is to be on Aaron as he ministers, and his sound will be heard when he enters the holy place before the Lord and when he leaves, so that he does not die. You are to make a plate of pure gold and engrave on it, the way a seal is engraved, holiness to the Lord. You are to attach to it a blue cord so that it will be on the turban. It is to be on the front of the turban. It will be on Aaron's forehead, and Aaron will bear the iniquity of the holy things which the Israelites are to sanctify by all their holy gifts. It will always be on his forehead for their acceptance before the Lord. You are to weave the tunic of fine linen, and make the turban of fine linen, and make the sash the work of an embroiderer. For Aaron's sons you are to make tunics, sashes, and headbands for glory and for beauty. You are to clothe them, your brother Aaron and his sons with him, and anoint them, and ordain them, and set them apart as holy, so that they may minister as my priests. Make for them linen undergarments to cover their naked bodies. They must cover from the waist to the thighs. These must be on Aaron and his sons when they enter the tent of meeting, or when they approach the altar to minister in the holy place, so that they bear no iniquity and die. It is to be a perpetual ordinance for him and for his descendants after him. Psalm 83 from the Net Bible. A song, a psalm of Asaph. O God, do not be silent. Do not ignore us. Do not be inactive, O God. For look, your enemies are making a commotion. Those who hate you are hostile. They carefully plot against your people and make plans to harm the ones you cherish. They say, come on, let's annihilate them, so they are no longer a nation. Then the name of Israel will be remembered no more. Yes, they devise a unified strategy. They form an alliance against you. It includes the tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagrites, Gebal, Ammon and Amalek, Philistia and the inhabitants of Tyre. Even Assyria has allied with them, lending its strength to the descendants of Lot. Do to them as you did to Midian, as you did to Sisera and Jabin at the Kishon River. They were destroyed at Endor. Their corpses were like manure on the ground. Make their nobles like Oreb and Zeb, and all their rulers like Zebah and Zalmunna, who said, Let's take over the pastures of God. O my God, make them like dead thistles, like dead weeds blown away by the wind, like the fire that burns down the forest, or the flames that consume the mountainsides. Chase them with your gale winds, and terrify them with your windstorm. Cover their faces with shame, so they might seek you, O Lord. May they be humiliated and continually terrified. May they die in shame. Then they will know that you alone are the Lord, the sovereign King over all the earth. Psalm 84 from the Net Bible. For the music director, according to the Gittith style, written by the Korahites, a psalm. How lovely is the place where you live, O Lord, who rules over all. I desperately want to be in the courts of the Lord's temple. My heart and my entire being shout for joy to the living God. Even the birds find a home there, and the swallow builds a nest where she can protect her young near your altars, O Lord, who rules over all, my King and my God. How blessed are those who live in your temple and praise you continually. How blessed are those who find their strength in you and long to travel the roads that lead to your temple. As they pass through the Baca valley, he provides a spring for them. The rain even covers it with pools of water. They are sustained as they travel along. Each one appears before God in Zion. O Lord, sovereign God, hear my prayer. Listen, O God of Jacob. O God, take notice of our shield. Show concern for your chosen king. Certainly spending just one day in your temple courts is better than spending 1,000 elsewhere. I would rather stand at the entrance to the temple of my God than live in the tents of the wicked. For the Lord God is our sovereign protector. The Lord bestows favour and honour. He withholds no good thing from those who have integrity. O Lord, who rules over all, how blessed are those who trust in you. Mark 13 from the Net Bible. The destruction of the temple. Now, as Jesus was going out of the temple courts, one of his disciples said to him, "Teacher, look at these tremendous stones and buildings." Jesus said to him, "Do you see these great buildings? Not one stone will be left on another. All will be torn down." Signs of the end of the age. So while he was sitting on the Mount of Olives opposite the temple, Peter, James, John and Andrew asked him privately, "Tell us, when will these things happen? And what will be the sign that all these things are about to take place?" Jesus began to say to them, "Watch out that no one misleads you. Many will come in my name, saying, 'I am he,' and they will mislead many. When you hear of wars and rumours of wars, do not be alarmed. These things must happen, but the end is still to come. For nation will rise up in arms against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places, and there will be famines. These are but the beginning of birth pains." Persecution of disciples. You must watch out for yourselves You will be handed over to councils and beaten in the synagogues. You will stand before governors and kings because of me as a witness to them. First, the gospel must be preached to all nations. When they arrest you and hand you over for trial, do not worry about what to speak, but say whatever is given you at that time, for it is not you speaking but the Holy Spirit. Brother will hand over brother to death, and the father his child. Children will rise against parents and have them put to death. You will be hated by everyone because of my name, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. The abomination of desolation. But when you see the abomination of desolation standing where it should not be, let the reader understand, then those in Judea must flee to the mountains. The one on the roof must not come down or go inside to take anything out of his house. The one in the field must not turn back to get his cloak. Woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing their babies in those days. Pray that it may not be in winter. For in those days there will be suffering unlike anything that has happened from the beginning of the creation that God created until now, or ever will happen. And if the Lord had not cut short those days, no one would be saved. But because of the elect whom he chose, he has cut them short. Then if anyone says to you, "Look, here is Christ," or "Look, there he is," do not believe him. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, the elect. Be careful. I have told you everything ahead of time. The arrival of the Son of Man. But in those days, after that suffering, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. The stars will be falling from heaven and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Then everyone will see the Son of Man arriving in the clouds with great power and glory. Then he will send angels, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. The parable of the fig tree. Learn this parable from the fig tree. Whenever its branch becomes tender and puts out its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also you. When you see these things happening, know that he is near, right at the door. I tell you the truth, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Be ready. But as for that day or hour, no one knows it, neither the angels in heaven nor the Son, except the Father. Watch out. Stay alert, for you do not know when the time will come. It is like a man going on a journey. He left his house and put his slaves in charge, assigning to each his work, and commanded the doorkeeper to stay alert. Stay alert then, because you do not know when the owner of the house will return, whether during evening, at midnight, when the rooster crows, or at dawn. Or else he might find you asleep when he returns suddenly. What I say to you, I say to everyone: stay alert.